thank you so much for being here. Definitely in the heart of Algiers. Happy to be joined by Councilman King as well. But with me, we have our Director of Park and Parkways, Mr. Michael Karam, our Director of Capital Projects, Mr. Vincent Smith, joined by our Deputy Chief Resilience Officer, Greg Nichols. Also, representatives from Algiers Point Association, Mr. Goodwin, Jim. Also, the Algiers Economic Development Foundation. Kelsey, thank you for being here. And I know we did expect to have the presence of Miss Yvonne Mitchell-Grubb. She could not be with us, but I tell you, she is present anyway, because it is just rooted and grounded in the work that we continue to see moving forward in Algiers. But on this afternoon, we're celebrating a complete planting of over 1,165 trees throughout the city of New Orleans. Being very intentional, making sure that we have the improvements and the planning showing up in every councilmatic district in our city. This initiative started in December of 2022, and here we are on today. With the complete partners who are with me, and particularly doing the work, Michael Karam and his team, Park and Parkways, and of course our contractors that have been boots on the ground every step of the way here with us. For the first time in many years, the Department of Park and Parkways has undertaken a large-scale planting, improving our quality of life, but improving our urban canopy again throughout this city. Trees aid us in so many ways. Of course, as it relates to stormwater management, we're on the front lines of climate change, and the climate has already changed, and we know we feel that. Even the heat of that relative to urban heat and island reduction. Carbon emissions, our trees will help us rid our community of our carbon emissions, again fighting back and beating back climate change every step of the way. And just the overall impacts to our quality of life, our behavioral health, and even public safety. Trees aid us along the way. Last year, the Department of Parkways set a goal to diversify our canopy and making sure again that we have a mixture of planting. So whether that's with oak trees, crepe myrtles, magnolias, bald cypress trees, let me tell you, you see them throughout the city. And when you see the sight of trees, I know for me, it just makes me smile. Simply because we didn't get here overnight. This was a lot of hard work, but real attention to our urban canopy. And clearly even starting for me as a city councilwoman of District B. You know, I couldn't wait and really pushing for trees to be along 2-Lane Avenue, for example, and driving 2-Lane and seeing those trees just right there front and center. Again, understanding how it's aiding this city in terms of our ecosystem. And again, climate change, and wanting to ensure that we beat back and we focus on our climate strategy, our action plan that has been adopted, so that we meet net zero by 2050. But let me tell you, while we have planted over 1,160 trees, our goal and our focus is planting over 40,000 trees in our city. But wanting to again get to a place within the next, I would say after the completion of this decade, but as we look to 2030, that again this city is better off because of the work that we're doing on today and continuing this on this pathway throughout this year. This work is also aligned with a complete grant proposal that we will be submitting to the USDA in forestry on June the 1st. What this means for us today and the opportunities for additional federal funding, we're demonstrating that the City of New Orleans is focusing on not only our canopy, but the overall quality of life and vitality of our community and our residents. This city is doing the work right now, which shows as an immediate leverage to federal opportunities coming our way. And so with this, I was joined by mayors, my brother and sister mayors in D.C. several weeks ago with USDA, where the city of New Orleans is on the priority list, and one city joined by many others where the federal government has waived the 50% match for cities like ours. So we are well positioned, not just about what we're doing now, but well positioned by what we will continue to do moving forward throughout my administration over the next 970 days, but again, setting up the future leadership for much more to come for our city. So I'm going to ask our fierce leader, Michael Karam, our Director of Parkways, to come forth and give you a little bit more about what he and his team are doing, but they're doing it with intentionality, in the spirit of partnership, and a real commitment, not just from our city, but from partners that are assembled with us right here this afternoon. So without further ado, Michael, come on up, and thank you so much for your leadership and for your work. Oh, there you go. I gave you a shot.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Mayor Cantrell, for your continued focus and support on tree cover and the many environmental benefits that come from a thriving and complete canopy. 1,160 impactful trees, blanketing major corridors long in need of cover. The map and numbers behind me speak for themselves. Wall Boulevard in Algiers, North Claiborne, St. Claude, Michoud Boulevard, Broad Street, Tulane, Jefferson, Napoleon. This bond-funded program complements years of planting, organizing, and permitting efforts by the City of New Orleans and our planting partners, as well as neighbors such as the Algiers Point Association that contributed to the large oak behind us, and groups dating back to Hike for Katrina. Efforts that have accelerated in the past few years with administration support through bond funds, council support through the $250,000 award program, and planning efforts of the reforestation plan and others. By our estimates, close to 18,000 have been planted since 2017, 45% of our way to 40,000 by 2030. Moving forward, Parks and Parkways and the Office of Resilience and Sustainability will continue our efforts to secure funding for planting and maintenance from our federal partners, City Council, the administration, and of course continue our work with our numerous planting partners to focus on neighborhoods across the city that lack sufficient tree cover. Additionally, these planting efforts tie into improvements in our park system that are coming through the Big Green Easy, the citywide Parks and Recreation Master Plan under development. The Big Green Easy is New Orleans' opportunity to make generational investments in our park system. The plan has two driving principles: equity, a commitment to fair, just, and inclusive park and recreation systems, and resilience, harnessing the potential of the citywide park system to absorb stormwater, protect critical wildlife habitat, and support the city's social fabric and cultural lifeways. We need residents and community partners to review our work so far and let us know what you love, what's missing, and what should happen first. Feedback will drive the next round of updates, and the final draft plan will be presented this summer. We encourage residents to complete the online survey available by visiting nola.gov/biggreeneasy. And with that, I'll pass it on to Vince Smith, our head of capital projects.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Vince Smith. I am Director of Capital Projects. At every ceremony of this type, I always lead off by saying that the vision of Capital Projects is to deliver the capital program to improve the quality of life for the citizens of our great city. Funding for the capital program and through the capital budget extends much farther than bricks and mortar. Quality life solutions in the capital program also include the placement of green spaces, trees, and landscaping that support resilience and soften our built environment. And that makes our urban areas more appealing. I want to take this opportunity to just commend Mike for the great work that he's done. The partnership has been good. Look forward to many more of these types of ceremonies to celebrate the work that Mike and his team has done. as well as celebrating the delivery of the capital program so that we can improve the life of all of our citizens. I'm going to turn it over to Greg Nichols, but before I do that, I am going to make a shameless plug and just say I'm looking forward to coming back to you guys with the mayor in the next 30 days to have groundbreaking ceremonies for the renovation of the Morris Jeff Pool, which we're going to convert into an indoor facility, and we're going to be breaking ground on the restoration and bringing Skelly Rupp back into commerce as well. So a lot of good things happening on the West Bank, and we just appreciate the opportunity to participate with the team, with the mayor, to once again improve the life of the citizens of this city. I'm going to turn it over to Greg Nichols.
Thank you, guys.
Good afternoon. My name is Greg Nichols, and I'm the Deputy Chief Resilience Officer for the city, where I lead the Office of Resilience and Sustainability. Our office works to implement climate policy and projects to help New Orleans reduce our carbon footprint and prepare our infrastructure for the changing climate. I'd like to start out by thanking Mayor Cantrell for her continued support for green infrastructure and applauding Mike and his team at Parks and Parkways, as well as the tree planting partners both of our offices work with, for a tremendously successful citywide tree planting season. I'd also like to thank the City Council and Councilmember King for funding both this bond-funded citywide tree planting program, as well as renewing the funding in 2023 for another round of tree planting partner awards. I'm thrilled to see parks like McDonough Memorial here in Algiers and neutral grounds across the city begin to rebuild the urban canopy that our city needs in our fight against climate change. Last December, our office released an updated climate action plan where we set the goal of net zero emissions by 2050. We have goals to reduce our carbon emissions by increasing non-automobile transportation options, reducing our energy use, and cleaning our electric grid, among others. For our remaining emissions, we offset them through nature-based solutions. Trees are an essential and critical part of the city achieving our net zero goal. In addition to absorbing stormwater runoff as well as beautifying our city, trees also reduce emissions by sequestering carbon in new tree growth every year. Our plan estimates that by 2035, 9% of the city's carbon reductions will be due to an increased tree canopy, and to reach our net zero goal in 2050, 28% of our reductions will come from trees. These are incredibly ambitious targets. The Climate Action Plan set a goal that the mayor mentioned to plant 40,000 trees by 2030, and we're on track to meet this goal, with 45% or over 18,000 planted to date, including the nearly 2,000 planted during this planting season by both Parks and Parkways and the Tree Planting Partner Awards. To meet our net zero goal, however, we must accelerate our efforts. Our city's tree canopy isn't distributed equitably throughout our city. Our most vulnerable residents often live in areas with less trees. This makes those areas more susceptible to flooding, poor air quality, and heat islands, or areas that are significantly hotter than other parts of the city because of a lack of shade and more structures that absorb and reflect heat. One recent study found that New Orleans has one of the worst heat island effects in the nation, with some parts of the city reaching 9 degrees hotter than other areas. Those inequities are why our Climate Action Plan also sets the goal of 10% canopy coverage in all city neighborhoods in 10 years, and our office is aggressively pursuing federal funding to implement it, as the mayor mentioned. We're finalizing a grant application to the USDA's Urban and Community Forestry Program, a part of the Inflation Reduction Act's $1.5 billion in funding for urban reforestation. The grant application targets tree plantings in disadvantaged areas of our city, as well as workforce training and DBE small business development programs to grow our local green economy. We also know that we need to increase tree maintenance funding for Parks and Parkways, as well as further refine and develop comprehensive tree policies citywide to protect trees on private property. Our office looks forward to working collaboratively with everyone to build on the momentum from this year's successful planting season. With that, I'll turn it over to Councilmember King.
Thank you, Greg.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is pretty hot, so I'm going to be very fast. Today, a day like this, you see how why trees are important. I wish we could put the podium about 10 feet that way in the shade. That would have been a bit better. But now, honestly, like the mayor said, the urban canopy, we need to extend our urban canopy. I did the easy part, which helped provide some of the money. The people who do the hard work is Mr. Karam and his team. The men and women of Parks and Parkways, they go out in the heat and cold year-round to plant our trees, to maintain our trees. I don't think they get enough credit. for the work that they do. I would also thank our mayor for her leadership in making this happen. Everybody who was a part of this, and I also want to give a special shout out to our Algiers community leaders. Without community leaders, you don't have much leadership at all. So that's Mr. Jim, Algiers Point Neighborhood Association, Kelsey Foster with AEDF, the Algiers Economic Development Foundation, and our Walnut Bend president and the president of the Algiers Presidents Association, Ms. Yvonne Mitchell-Grell. So thank you for all that you have done, and I just look forward to working with the community to making events like this happen more often. And Mr. Smith, thank you for that not shameless plug about the pool and Scully Rub. We definitely need that on the West Bank and Algiers. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And so we're wanting to hear from Kelsey, and Jen, we want to hear from you as well.
Okay. Welcome to Algiers Point, one of the best neighborhoods, if not the best in the city. We have had a long-standing commitment to increasing the green canopy, and as Councilmember King said, you can see the testimony to that by the audience being under a very large magnolia tree that keeps them well shaded. I also would like to express on behalf of the Algiers Point Association our appreciation to the mayor, her neighborhood engagement staff, Michael Karam and Parks and Parkways staff who have been helpful on this and some other projects also that we're working on to improve the neighborhood, as well as Councilmember King. And we've also had numerous volunteers who have participated in tree plantings and working on improving our quality of life here in the Point. That includes improving some of the environmental considerations that we have to address. So again, I would like to welcome everybody and express my appreciation to all the people who helped make this happen. This will make this park much more friendly and much more comfortable with more trees. We have some, but we can always use more. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
All right, and Kelsey?
Hello everyone. I will just second that I don't think there is anyone in this city that needs to be 9 degrees hotter on any given day of the year in New Orleans. I could not be more thrilled and proud to welcome y'all to Algiers, where we have almost 200 new trees in the ground, which is an amazing number. You're standing here in McDonough Memorial Park, which is a really wonderful piece of the Algiers Point community. During the pandemic, this park was home to porch concerts that helped neighbors socialize distantly and safely under the trees in the shade, and for many, many generations was home to a very large, really good kid climbing oak tree that we lost a couple years ago. And thanks to a contribution by the city and the Algiers Point Association, there's a new oak in the ground for future generations to climb. So we're very excited for this park to see the investment it has, but also all of Algiers. As many previous speakers have alluded to, trees are an equity issue in our city and in a lot of cities. I'm thrilled to see trees all along Wall Boulevard that are healthy, watered, and thriving. So thank you to the Mayor's Office, to Councilman King, to Parks and Parkways and Capital Projects, and everyone who has helped make Algiers across our communities a greener, cooler, safer, and nicer place to live.
Thank you very much. And last but not least, Ms. Yvonne Mitchell-Grove.
Thank you so much. As president of the Algiers Neighborhood Presidents Council and also my neighborhood, Walnut Bend, I want to thank everyone for being here. I believe that anything that addresses our climate, such as trees, is extremely important. I've also had the opportunity to participate on the Climate Action Equity Project and the Environmental Action Committee for the Greater New Orleans Foundation. And trees are a significant part of what we are looking to do to improve the environment in our city. So we appreciate everyone who is a part of this today. We're looking forward to the continuing effort in all of our neighborhoods to make sure that we have trees, that we have great places for kids to play and for people to just sit under the tree and cool off. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So that concludes, I would say, our conference. We will be cutting a ribbon, but prior to doing so, are there any questions?
On topics? No questions?
Any questions? Okay. None, so let's cut a ribbon.
hold the ribbon. Everybody put your hands on. And Councilman, you'll count us down.
Yes, ma'am. 3, 2, 1, cut.
Yay! Thank you so much.
Test running.
There we go.
That was just a test. I was going to do a lot of ones.
Well,
You had the right idea, Michelle.
Just, do you have Robinson? Yeah, he's the one that's doing this. Just let him know the content.
Yeah. Let me post this real quick. But yeah, that's fine.
the bench over there.